Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, CF Montreal wins six straight on the road as they secure second place in the East. Piet Johnson, Miller, Waterman, and Kone all called up for Canada, and we got interviews with Coach Wilfred Nasi and the OG Paul Vance. All of that and a lot more on this celebration episode. It's a War on 100 show at the Ball is Wrong. I'm joined as usual by my friends Yves Paul and birthday boy Eddie Raphael. How are y'all?
Fine, man. 100 episodes.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh
yeah,
my
it's good,
gosh.
right?
Unbelievable.
It went so fast, man.
It
Right?
did, man. It did. It's funny because if you count Soccer by Paul and Hady, it's 141st episode. So
Wow.
it's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
you had
What a
the chance
journey.
to talk to Paul Vance this week. We have the interview
Yeah.
a bit later on the show, and it's gonna be cool to hear from him because it's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, and he's nice. You're gonna have a few news of about him and what he's doing and everything. So it's really nice to get in
Cool.
touch with him again.
Yeah.
Awesome, Eve, you good?
Yeah, excellent. No, definitely a good weekend and really excited for the momentous occasion that we're marking today.
Yeah, man. So let's get right into it. So we won't change much of how we start the episodes. We'll go through the review of Montreal's latest game. It was against New England. So let's get right into it. Last year's Supporters Shield winner, New England, was in dire need for points as their playoff hopes rested heavily on a win against CF Montreal. Gustavo Bou was back from injury for since five games, but their record was still a worrying one win, one draw, three losses in that stint. Montreal had already secured second place in the East before the game because the NYCFC won in the Hudson River Derby against rival New York Red Bull in the afternoon. But listening to Wilfred Nancy this week suggested that his side would not take their foot off the gas pedal. A lot of fans were worried about injuries on the dodgy pitch at Foxborough, so it would be very interesting to see which lineup Nasi chose. So he went with Breza in goal, from right to left in defense, Johnston, Waterman, Camacho, Miller, and Chouanière. In midfield, Piet Wanyama and Mihailovic up front, Kyoto and Camara. Joja Quizera, who started midweek, didn't make the trip. He was replaced on the bench by Sunusi Ibrahim. Hady, a lot was made about the decision to start Breza over Pantemis for a second game in a row. Did you have, what did you make of Coach Nasi's decision?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm really not sure. I was very, very surprised. Then I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's preparing James Pantemis for the playoffs and just giving last few starts to Breza before the playoffs begin, because it would be really, I'm not gonna say stupid, but yeah, it would be really stupid if he chooses Breza over Pantemis for the playoff run. So yeah, not sure why.
Yeah. And Eve, were you expecting a bit more of a rotated squad going into this game?
I mean, the midweek game that happened this week was on a Tuesday rather than a Wednesday, so it wasn't as though the turnaround was as quick as it often is when there's a midweek league game or a cup game. So the only real concern, kind of like you had mentioned, was the turf that could have proved to be problematic. But I think as well, it's important right now to keep your strongest 11 together as much as possible, because it is important to maintain that chemistry and develop just refine that tactical cohesion going into the playoffs. I think so. No, I wasn't particularly surprised, other than the goalkeeping decision, which is a mystery to us all.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even have an idea on why, and I think Nasi said it after the game that the race was still open to know who's gonna be the goalie to start the playoffs with. I think for most fans, there's no race, but anyways, we'll get to that a bit later. So as it's often the case in New England, the game got off to a lackluster start, but in the 12th minute, New England combined well, and Matt Polster got a real chance in the box, but was stopped by a very, very good challenge by Mathieu Choignard. Yves Choignard has been the object of critics for his play at left wing back this year. How do you feel he performed yesterday?
You know, as I think Lassi Lapalainen grew into the left wing back role, it kind of allowed us it kind of allowed spectators and onlookers to see that although Mathieu Choignard had been doing a really serviceable job, that attacking flair on the left wing back position isn't necessarily his forte. And like, that's nothing against him because he's been an incredibly versatile player, but it is just that. Nonetheless, I thought this was one of his better recent performances at left wing back. You mentioned, like you said, that particular that tackle on at Polster, which was a really important tackle in my opinion. I thought he was marked really tightly by Brandon Bye most of the game, particularly when they were when they were trying to play out of the back, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. So defensively, I thought he did a great job. Offensively, missing a little bit of that flair, but for me, it was a pretty solid match from him.
Interesting. And Hady, Jojo Quizera did well Tuesday against Chicago. So do you think that if Lassie is the number one at left wing back, Quizera is a serviceable backup, we could maybe eventually try to relocate maybe a bit more permanently Mathieu Choignard in midfield? And would that be a bad thing for him, you think?
I think we were being a bit too harsh on Mathieu Choignard. Yes, he's not been as good as he was at one point as a wingback, but he didn't do a bad job on the last game. I think he's been okay. He hasn't been like wonderful or fantastic or anything, but he's not been bad like against New England. The previous match, yes, he was. So. Yeah, I think we have to cut him some slack. I think that, of course, Quizera is an option also as a left wing back, but he's still very, very young. Like, he doesn't have a lot of experience. So if I'm going in a playoff game, I would prefer to have a Mathieu Choignard than a Jojo Quizera as a starter if Lassie's not available. It's so funny that we talk as Lassie as being a first starter, but still.
I never thought of that at the start of the year. I didn't think we would be saying that.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know. I can't believe it.
Said that changed that. And
I'm like, it's recorded. It's out there in the world for everyone to go back and remind us about.
It's crazy. Hey, but we're human, right? So
exactly.
Of course.
We see it as it is, and afterwards, we speculate, and sometimes we have it right, sometimes we have it wrong, and this time we had it wrong, and it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good. No? It's just good for Montreal seeing that it's doing well at that position particularly. So, guys, after the game picked up after Polster's miss, because back-to-back chances for Carlos Gill and Tommy McNamara missed the net high. How did you guys feel that Montreal weathered the New England's possession and pressure at the start of the game? Because they came out like they had a good spell of 10-15 minutes where they were kind of into the game after they faded out. How did you feel that Montreal controlled that particular moment in the game?
I think it was a little bit hot at the back because New England was pressing Montreal really, really, really high when they were trying to play out of the back. Not so much directly on Breza, but more so on the first line of defenders in front of him. As that 10-15 minutes was going on, I kind of felt a little bit frantic, and it reminded me a little bit of, I guess, of maybe a frantic atmosphere there, trying to kind of keep all the hands at the wheel and stuff. But I mean, overall, at the end of the day, the biggest threats that New England posed to Montreal, like, they still weren't that threatening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at the same time, although it looked a little bit chaotic, when I went and I watched like a second time, it felt like they were actually probably a lot more in control than I realized.
Hady.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of things. Yeah, of course, New England pressing was really successful in the beginning, and then they were a problematic foe for us, right, during the whole game. They weren't, an easy target as a team. They weren't easy to beat. But what I really noticed is that under pressing, I don't know if you guys remember at one point, maybe a year ago, Nancy was saying that Pantemis should learn when to play short and when to
Yeah.
play long.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was saying that sometimes he needs to identify the situations, identify the presses, so that whenever the pressing is really dangerous for a short kick, then he should go long.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel that Pantemis learned from that. Not sure if Reza did, because yesterday, quite a few times we had that problem.
Yeah, so let's get into Breza because he made a good save in the 20th minute against Gustavo Bu, a very nice save diving to his right.
True.
And Hady, Breza, he did have some mishaps in that game, but apart from maybe his distribution, how did you think that he performed in general in that game?
Yeah, listen, he's a good goalkeeper on his line. Very good shot stopper, no problem at all. And he's very courageous, right? So whenever he needs to go out and just go, directly on the feet of the
we saw that
of the
against
opponent,
Chicago.
no problem at all, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, sometimes, in Chicago, yes, that was a problem, but remember at one point during I don't know when was it, but he jumped. Everybody thought that it was a penalty, and then it wasn't. And he just touched the ball. So he's a bit crazy, like most of the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that in Breza. It's just that distribution is just very, very bad. Very, very bad. But good game for him for sure.
And distribution is a problem given how we play. If we were playing that Mauro Biello style and maybe even Rémi Garde, it wouldn't necessarily be a problem because we saw Evan Bush not being a great goalie with the ball at his feet, and even Clément Diop was struggling, but it never really hurt the way we were playing. But now in that particular way that Wilfried Nancy wants to play, it becomes a very big factor in who you choose to be your starting goalie. But that being said, Yves, it's hard to say that Breza isn't in the doghouse of a lot of fans. Do you think that he's as big a problem as people claim, or is that maybe that Nancy kept faith in a bit too long and prompting people to get a bit cynical?
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, to be honest. Especially right before James Pantemis got a look in this season, I mean, everybody was really, I think, just scratching their head as to, how Nancy could justify starting Breza, week in and week out with the mistakes that were being made. Sometimes, like Hady said, it was due to that really unfortunate distribution. But then as well, I mean, there were some comments that Breza had made at the start of the season to the media that were like not super respectful, I don't think, of the fan. I sincerely doubt that was his intent, but it certainly didn't come off very good. And that obviously as well didn't help, I don't think, his cause when things got difficult.
True. Guys, let's move on to the 34th minute. Kai Kamara found Alistair Johnston down the right, and he delivered a nice cutback to Victor Wanyama, who put his shot wide. Victor, he got some good opportunities yesterday and was lively in the attacking third as a support player in second waves of attack. Could he be the key come playoff times when we're going to play against very hermetic defenses?
I think it's definitely going to be really important. I think yesterday he looked like the most like the prime Victor Wanyama that we've had. Really, we talked about it a lot here that he was looking tired and stuff. And I felt like yesterday he was back, so to speak. And obviously his ability to create those transition moments for Montreal to capitalize on is really important for the team. And as well his ability to distribute the ball, whether he distributes it, with a line breaking pass or goes out wide or what have you. Like, I think he has such a keen eye for that it is going to be, in my opinion, a game changer if he's healthy and fit and well rested and up for it.
Yeah, and Eve, you talked about it a bit, but Nasi managed Victor Wanyama's minutes in the past month. Hadi, do you have the feeling that this is really what Wanyama needed, and this is why he looks like the prime Victor that we knew from the start of the year?
Yeah, of course. Nancy has done a great job keeping everybody fit and everybody game shape. I think the rotation was very important throughout the season, and I think it's going to be very important also to continue the rotation until the end of the year, because yes, there's still only 2 games left,
Yep.
but those 2 games are still games where starters can get injured, players can get out of form, and you also need to put confidence into those that don't have a lot of confidence. So there's a lot of work to be done by Wilfried Nasi, but you know what? He's done it so well this year that I have faith in him.
So we went into halftime with the score tied at 0-0. Coach Hady, what would have been your speech to the boys at the break?
Faster. Just play faster. One touch. Play faster. That pressure, that pressing that New England is doing is really good. But the only way we can overcome it is just by playing faster. It was a bit slow quite a few times, so that's what we needed. But I think that Montreal players were doing things right. They just needed to play faster. That's all.
But there's a thing here, and I it made me wonder because we talked about it last week about maybe playing at the Olympic Stadium, and I think we were all unanimous that it was a bad idea. And you saw that Montreal were struggling a bit to get these one-touch passes. You saw some players taking an extra touch, which was a bit uncharacteristic. You could see Johnston often put the ball, like settle the ball before crossing it because it was coming all over the place. Chouanière struggled a bit with bouncing balls too. So that's. I think Montreal tried to play faster. I think the pitch was what was making it a bit more difficult for them.
Yeah. No, and it's not a good, I don't think it's any secret that, the pitch, it's an NFL pitch and NFL first and foremost.
Yeah. It's a football stadium.
Exactly. And, so I don't think it's any secret really that it's going to be difficult to play like that. And Lord knows.
Yeah, but if it's difficult for them to play there, how difficult is it going to be at the Big O?
Yeah, no, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. Oh yeah, no, it would be terrible. No,
it would be disgusting, man. It's going to be disgusting.
No, it would be. Oh my God, no. The point I was trying to eventually make my way to was that that is technically a way better pitch than the Big O.
Yeah, so just imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So no, and I mean we've seen enough games at the Big O, I think, to know that it would be just a hot mess.
Yeah, and Eva, were you expecting any changes in personnel or in tactics coming into the second half, or you were good with what happened in the first half?
Like Hady said, up the tempo for sure. But overall, Montreal was getting. I think even though they didn't put any shots on target in the first half, they were still getting a lot of chances. I mean, Montreal had so many corners in that first half. It was like corner. So they had quite a few chances. Kai Kamara did pick up a yellow card pretty early in the game. Maybe you could have contemplated replacing him with Mason Toy because Kai Kamara did have a really quiet game, I thought, overall. Although he was. Yeah. He was helpful on the defensive side with
exactly. Yeah.
So props to him for that, nonetheless. But otherwise, by and large, Montreal was overcoming the high press aside from that 10-15 minute period. They were still managing to play their way out from the back. So no, honestly, I can't see anything really I would have changed other than maybe Kai Kamara.
So as the second half started, the game opened up a bit and both teams saw goals denied for offside until the 67th minute. Georgi Mihailovic made a darting run down the left and took a shot, but he missed wide. Yes, Georgi seemed to be picking it up. He seemed much more involved. And is this securing you a bit going into the playoffs? And guys, just to help answer that question, we have a graphic it's a tweet from... let's just get. I think it's USMNT. Yeah, USNNT. So just quick statistics for Georgie's performance yesterday. Then you'll answer the question, guys. 77 minutes, 6 chances created, 1 dribble won, 91% pass accuracy, 6 accurate crosses, 4-on-4 accurate long balls, 6 passes into the final third. So,
Yeah.
guys, is this the Georgie we know that played yesterday against New England?
In the second half, for sure. Like you said, the first half was a little bit quieter for him. As it was for kind of several of the offensive players. But definitely in the second half, yeah, for me it was he was a lot more active. I think he had a lot more room to roam. And not surprising given that New England had really no choice but to put everything forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he was very good. You feel that after his injury, I think we've seen Georgie back to the way we know him, the player that he was before his injury, and that's only been, I think Toronto game was the first one where we've seen Georgie come back from his injury, like officially, if you want to. So yeah, no, good game for him.
He did pick up a yellow card, which will mean that he will be suspended for the DC game after the international break. So that's gonna break a bit of the rhythm that he picked up over the last few weeks. But that happens, man. In the 72nd minute, we got our breakthrough moment. Georgie delivered a super ball to Kyoto down the left wing, who delivered a perfect early cross to Johnston, who was alone at the back post, and slotted the ball past Petrovic. Yves, Johnston has 4 goals, 5 assists this year. He can play anywhere across the back line. Why is it that his name has not come up that much for Player of the Year in Montreal this year?
Yeah, great question. I think it's largely the position that he plays at. It's kind of Player of the Year, it's usually going to be somebody who gets those glamorous stats like, 15 goals, for example, like a Romel Kyoto, or, like Georgi Mihailovic of last year, or what have you. So I think it's just, he's unfortunately a victim of his position. It doesn't necessarily reflect as glamorously, even though when you watch him match in and match out, he is so important to the success of this side.
Yeah, I want to add a couple of things. First of all, don't forget that Johnston didn't start the season well, right? For the first 5-6 games,
he was adapting to that new position.
Exactly. So, of course, Kyoto is now, because of the stats, like you said, he's the one that should be the front runner for that award. But in my opinion, it's Joel Waterman, and there's nothing, like, for me, it's him, nobody else. And the second thing that I wanted to say, what a pass by Georgie, please. Like, I know you said it, Sam, but like, that's why sometimes, a lot of people criticize the fact that MLS gives 2 passes on certain plays, but
that's like the hockey system,
Yeah, but on this play here, for me, Georgie's pass is the assist.
Oh yeah.
It's not Kyoto, it's Georgie's, right? So that's why sometimes you're like, I like the way MLS made it, because Georgie's pass needed some stats, something to be recognition, exactly. And I'm happy that it is recognized in MLS, not in the rest of the world, unfortunately.
What helped on that play is, I think, it's his positioning, because Georgie it was interesting how he was playing, because he was playing very, very close to a striker, but not exactly as a number 10. He was almost playing like a kind of a false 9, but not in a false 9 tactical system. So he was often bringing a center back very deep out of position, and that's how he created the spacing to send Romel through. So it was a very interesting way that Georgie was playing, because I don't think he was meant to be roaming a bit. I think it was just a bit of a trap that he was setting to the center backs, going so close to them and then just drifting out of his position. And as a center back, you need to stay tight on a player. And New England was playing a very high line, so they needed to stay tight and go higher on Georgie. And he understood the way New England was playing perfectly. And that's how he created that brilliant assist that brilliant pass to Kyoto, who delivered this, but it's been
It's an
credited as
assist,
an
Sam.
assist.
It's an
Yeah,
assist.
true,
It's an
true.
assist.
I'm not used to that MLS, the two passes system, but it's good for him though. So Eddie, do you think that back to Johnston now? Do you think that he still will be a CF Montreal player next year because he looks more and more likely to get a big move and more soon than maybe we would expect?
Seriously, I'm pretty sure Montreal fans are not gonna love me, but I hope not. I hope he's not gonna be in CF Montreal. It's his dream to go to Europe. I think he has what it takes to be in Europe. And what's really nice about Alistair Johnston is that he adapts very quickly. He can play, very, very good offensively, but also defensively. He's a former midfielder, so he can help there. And he speaks two languages. Like he's bilingual. He can speak French. So, going to all those French countries, it's a possibility for him to go to Belgium, to go to Switzerland, to go to France. Plus, of course, the EPL and the championship, and he can go anywhere. And I think that Renard's contacts are gonna work because he's been so good, and I want him in Marseille. I wish I could talk with the scouting network there, because man, like, we need a right back, we need a right wing back, and we need one. So like, not as a starter, as a second, we have Jonathan Klaus, who's a French national team player, but like as a backup, Alistair Johnston will be awesome. So, so Marseille guys, if you're listening to me, listening to us, please sign him.
First move by Wilfred Nancy came in the 77th minute. He took off Mihailovic and he brought on Ismail Kone. Kyoto then got two very good chances in the final minutes of the game, but he was denied both times by Petrovic. Guys, Romel hasn't scored in 5 games, and we know he's a very streaky player. Does that cause any concern to you, knowing the playoffs are near?
No. He's still contributing offensively, as evidenced by his assists last night. He was putting shots on target that were just denied by the keeper. So for me, no, not concerned.
Same. He takes so much space. We talked about it quite a few times here on the Ball This Round, as his role is so important. It's a lot more than goals. Yes, he scored 15 goals, but it's a lot more than goals. And you know what? I'm happy that maybe he's a streaky player. I'm happy that now his downfall is now and not in the playoffs. So maybe in the playoffs, he'll start it again and start scoring again. So no, I'm not that worried. Same as he.
He has been called up by Honduras, so it's going to be interesting to see how he performs with his national team too, because that's going to determine a lot of how his streakiness will go on.
Yeah.
Robbie says, "Can we keep our good players for at least a couple of years?" Oh, that's interesting.
That's not the mentality, unfortunately,
No.
the vision, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we kept Georgie for 2 years. If the right offer comes in, why will you wait? Like,
no.
Right wing backs, it's not a very hard position to find, right? Like, of course, you have great players like Alistair Johnston, that's for sure. But we also have ZBG that's here. We can get another one pretty easily. It's not a position that's very, very, very difficult to find in the soccer world.
Yeah.
You get attached to these guys though, so that's maybe what he was meaning, Robbie. You don't want to see them leave so quickly after they just arrive. But so to close out the game, Wilfred Nancy made 2 separate substitutions: Toy for Camara and Torkelson for Chouanière, before Rosendo Mendoza blew the final whistle. Guys, another game, another win for Montreal, as they now won 18 on the season, but more impressively equaled an MLS record by winning 6 consecutive away games. Last and only time a team managed that feat, it was the San Jose Earthquakes back in 2005. Guys, this is just an amazing stat, right?
It's wild.
They keep on blowing our minds, right? This team is just not normal. Not normal. Like, beating so many records, it's just crazy.
Well, I mean, like, other teams in MLS have had better seasons, so I wouldn't go so far as to say like it's not abnormal. But such a good season. It just seems like everything has finally clicked. From coaching to keeping players healthy to getting players who fit the system and adapt so quickly. It just feels like all of the stars have finally lined up for Montreal. And that, that's a lot of credit to so many people involved in that organization, from kind of the top down.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, a few questions from our listeners. Alain and Mathieu had very similar questions. We'll put them on, but we'll answer them together, though. Alain says, what do you want to see during the last 2 games of the regular season? Biggest remaining question regarding the squad. In my opinion, what goalie gets to start the playoff? I'm leaning James Pantemis. And Mathieu's question too, because it's gonna be a mashup of these 2 questions, our answers, I guess, guys. And Mathieu asks us how should Nancy manage a squad for the last games before the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a tricky question, like for real. Because I kind of feel like where Montreal has a stronger record on the road than at home right now, I do feel, and Montreal is clearly getting a home playoff game to start. I feel like, yeah. Well, you gotta win the first one. You gotta win the first one. Yeah. You know me. I'm not gonna get carried away. So we start with one.
But they're sure to have, if they win the first one, the second one also.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's conditional. The second one is conditional. So I think as much as
one sec, if it's I think Matthew says that he didn't see Alain's question, so I'm just going to put it back if you don't mind before you answer. So what do you want to see during the last 2 games of the regular season? Biggest remaining question regarding the squad. In my opinion, it is what goalkeeper gets to start the playoffs. I think I'm leaning Jay Pantemis, so that's it. Sorry, go ahead, Yves.
No worries. So... Yeah, okay, so because Montreal is going to be hosting a playoff game, then I think Montreal does need to play its strongest 11, as much as it would be interesting to see some of those players who haven't had the minutes. I think they are kind of obligated to end up, making a statement at home, making sure that their home is made to kind of feel fortified, and that's really their last chance to do so. It's probably... so I think they're going to have to play their strongest 11.
And you're with Alain for
obviously goalkeeper still remains the greatest mystery of this team, in my opinion. You can tell me if I'm wrong, though. if there's any greater mystery on that starting 11, and I think it probably will be James Pantemis going into the playoffs.
Hopefully.
I don't know why, though, because honestly, Wilfred Nancy could surprise me really bad once again.
Hady.
Yeah, Pantemis, for sure. He's going to be in goal. For the rest, how is he going to manage the rest of the squad? I think it's important to give minutes to the players that could make a difference for us in the playoffs. And it's not only the starters. Players like Mason Toy, like Ishmael Kone, like Mathieu Chouanière, they should have minutes. Like, it's important for them to get minutes because you need to make sure that they come into those games with in game shape and not, completely with a lack of confidence. Like, I hope that Mason Toy is going to score a goal before the end of the season. I think that's very important for him, and that's going to be awesome for us in the playoffs. Those players that are in rotation, they should have minutes, maybe starts also in the last couple of games. I think that's going to be very important. And of course, keep the confidence in the players that are doing well. And of course, manage the fact that a lot of players are going with the national team, so maybe rest them a bit when they come back. I think the next game against DC United, I wouldn't mind a rotated squad with those international players rested. So we'll see.
But Eve has a good point though, because you need to treat these two last games very seriously because that's kind of the
Yeah.
momentum that's going to bring you into the playoffs. So it's a head scratcher for Wilfred Nancy because now you have that DC game at home. That yes, you want to fortify your home. You're absolutely right, Eve. But then you're going away to Miami, who's going to be probably fighting for their playoff lives or not close
Yeah.
to very close to it. So no, it's gonna be a tough game, and it's gonna have the feel of a playoff game. So I think you need to at least start with your starters and see if someone cramps up or if someone is just getting a bit
Yeah.
tired. And you can manage it, but I think you need to start.
Yeah.
And Nasi has proved to be very bold this year, and so I don't see him taking the foot off the gas pedal at this moment of the season, so close to the end. I'm pretty sure he won't. So yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. Listen, I just put Sebastian because I understand the way he wrote it might be a bit confusing, but I want to talk about Sebastian's question.
Okay.
So Pantemis, so what Sebastian says, and he says Pantemis's base salary is 145K and goes up to 540K possible with bonuses. So he thinks that maybe there would be a story of bonuses that would keep Pantemis off the
Yo.
pitch. Do you think that's possible, guys?
540,000 for Pantemis? I doubt it very much.
I looked at the MLSPA when they released the salary, and MLSPA says base salary is 145 and guaranteed compensation is 160,000 in 833, which
Yeah,
I think
because they need-
sounds more.
Yeah, but we all know that MLSPA, like, the numbers are not 100% accurate.
No, they're not
because it's
100%,
what's-
but like I don't know what the hell kind of bonuses you could get that could drive your pay from 145
Yeah,
to
that's a lot of
540.
money. A lot of
It could
money.
happen. It could happen for sure. It could happen. Like someone like Kai Kamara could get, those kinds of bonuses in case he
Right.
scores 10 goals or whatever. But like Pantemis hasn't proved anything to be able to sign a contract with the triple amount of of his salary, like his salary being tripled if he reaches certain targets. So I doubt it very much. But if it's the case, yeah, of course, it's a possible factor. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation on contracts, so it's very hard to answer that question. But if it's the case, yeah, of course, it's going to be a factor for Nancy and Renard and the whole Montreal organization.
Well, it should be a factor for Renard, but not for Nancy, because Nancy should be coaching his team regardless of the salary and the bonuses. He shouldn't even be having that in mind. So if it is a factor, I think it's not a good thing that Nancy is managing bonuses and stuff.
Or like that they're getting involved and telling him maybe like bench your player.
No,
But like that's obviously very.
Yeah. So to answer the question, I'd say no. I don't think it is a factor because that was your question after Sebastian. So no, I don't think it's a factor at all. But
agree.
it's an interesting thing to bring on the table, though. Very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Very interesting.
You got a simple guy's question. Simple guy asks us. Well, he has two questions. I think we'll answer more of the first one than the second. He says, "Who is your starting 11 for the first playoff game?" In my opinion, the only question marks are Piet versus Kone and Toy versus Camara. Lassie, Wanyama, Mialovic, Johnson, Camacho, Miller, Waterman, Kyoto, Pantemis are locks. And second question: has Eve had pasta? So Eve, answer the second question, then we'll answer the first.
I did. I had pasta on Friday night.
Well,
I
finally,
made
so it means it's cold
I'll
outside.
boil that water. Yes, so everybody bust out your sweaters. I declare it's pasta weather, and I'm gonna actually then I bought more ingredients, so I'll probably have some more this week.
That's it. Yeah. So.
But also from a sporting perspective, the first question.
Yeah. For me, the lineup is a lock completely. Piet is in front. Well, because I agree with all that simple guy said, and Piet over Kone and Camara over Toy. I think it's self-explanatory at this point, really, because that's how Wilfred Nancy has set up and it's worked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still can't understand why people still question Piet's place in the starting
neither,
11.
man.
Like I just can't. So I'm sorry, but like I think he proved everybody wrong, and he proved everybody that he has his place as a starter in that team. man, his crosses are maybe the most dangerous crosses of any midfielders in the Montreal
real, yeah.
squad right
Yeah.
now. So I don't know. I don't know what more does he need to do in order to convince everybody. So yeah, for me the whole lineup is a
No, but like I can kind of see why there could be a question because, you know, if a team is going to be coming to Stade Saputo and maybe setting up uber defensively, maybe like a player who has, you know, that kind of explosivity and that creative flair like an Ismail Kone could be of interest for sure. But I agree with you, like for kind of a do or die match, I would still rely on Piet.
Yeah, and I think Camara versus Toy, it is what it is. You know, I think Toy is really, really, really out of form, and Camara is doing very well.
Unless Toy scores a hat trick, you know, in the next game, or
I don't think it changes anything.
No,
for real.
still no.
think
And
so?
I mean, no, and think about all the experience that Kai Kamara has in the playoffs, like of those, you know, of the importance of those matches and, you know, managing that. So for me, like the wisdom is worthwhile.
I completely agree with you guys. I'm just gonna add a twist to that question.
Hit me.
We're playing the first game at the Big O. Would you go with an informed Kai Kamara or an informed Mason Toy, knowing that Kai Kamara has struggled on the New England pitch? He's 38, so very hard on the knees for someone that's 38 to play on a synthetic surface. So let's say Toy scores a couple of goals until the end of the season. Would you change your mind?
No.
No, man. It's a
Wow.
playoff. It's do or die, man.
Wow.
You can't
No.
change your mind. No.
No, like you were like asking your question. I was like, you hadn't even finished like the first 4 words of your question. I had already made up my mind.
Can't.
I'm not sure. I would hesitate a lot. To be
No, but I
honest,
mean,
would
Mason
hesitate a
Toy
lot.
also had like a significant injury in the start of the year.
Because of
you
the
mentioned exactly. Yeah, he got injured at the Big O.
True. You make a point, guys. You make a point.
We'll finish this off with Matt Lemay's question.
Yeah.
I think we
Matt
answered
Lemay-
that question last week, but yeah, we did. But it's someone else who asked us. But Mathieu
Yeah.
asked us, which opponent in the playoffs are you afraid to meet in the first round and why? So it gives us the opportunity to maybe change our mind if anyone of you wants to change its mind. Because Hady, you said Columbus, even I said New York Red Bull last week. So do you
And
guys-
for it being the first round, by this point as well, we have a slightly clearer image of, you know, maybe reducing it because Montreal won't face New York Red Bulls in the first round for sure.
Yeah.
Because Montreal is going to end up facing whoever's in 7th. I don't see us passing the Philadelphia Union. No, I just no.
No.
So right this moment, it's Miami. Cincinnati, I wouldn't want to face Cincinnati in the first round. If I look at like, you know, the teams in and around that area, I would say Cincinnati because the matches against them have just been so chaotic.
Yeah, true. Hady.
I don't change my answer. It's still Columbus. Columbus.
Man, they
scares
dropped
me.
another lead again.
Yeah, but still, they scare me. The way they played against us in the last game,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll make that same error again against us. Maybe they did it against Portland, but they're not gonna do it again against us. I don't think so. It's twice it happened this season. I don't think it's gonna happen 3 times with Caleb Porter at the helm.
You know, I'm gonna change. I said Red Bull. I'm gonna change for Orlando. Orlando are 5th right now, but they're 3 points over the 7th place. And man, I just fear this team every time we play. It's difficult, and they have look. They're very, very good at the dark arts of football. They're the most CONCACAF team in probably in the whole league. They won the U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah.
They didn't do it by playing very well, but they always found a way to win. And I'm just worried that they can come at Stade Saputo and turn this into a very scrappy CONCACAF type of game.
Like
and
maybe,
they just, score a random goal and we lose 1-0. So, Orlando for me.
Aren't you guys afraid of Inter Miami with the new connection between Pizzuello and Higuain? I'm not. I'm just asking you guys
not
if
at
you
all.
are.
No.
No, I'm not afraid either. Yeah.
They're Florida friends. Yeah, but not them. No. So, guys, just to round up the game, it was an away game, right? So Eve can't hit us up with her appreciation of the home ambience. And the birthday boy Hady was on family duty last night
Yeah.
after the game for 40 years of existence. So no review of Wilfred Nassi's presser, but we have better than that for you guys. Coach Nassi accepted our invitation to sit down with us and talk about football, his philosophy, and his crazy journey that brought him from coaching in local parks in Quebec to the MLS and to maybe Coach of the Year in MLS. So I think it's the first time he ever sits down with a podcast. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I might have missed it. But we were lucky enough to have Wilfred Nassi this week on an interview. So without further ado, this is Wilfred Nassi for us. So we're very happy to be joined by CF Montreal head coach Wilfred Nassi. Wilfred, thank you so much for accepting the invitation.
It's a pleasure.
We do things a bit different. We don't really, when we get guests, we don't really like to go in the day-to-day of what's happening. We like to get to know them a bit, their journey, how they think football. So that's about how we're gonna get this interview in, Wilfred. So I'll just start it off really simple as, what's your favorite football moment as a fan? Because of course you're a coach, but you're also a fan of football, right?
Yes, I'm going to share a story with you. It's funny because my mom was talking about this 2 days ago. So when the last game, Mason Toy came out, and he was upset because he didn't score. And so my mom saw the video because I hugged him.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, it was nice.
Told him that it's okay, it's going to come. And after that, my mom told me that, I don't know if you remember, but around 11 years old, I was doing a tournament in France, and I missed a PK, a penalty, and it was for the final. And I was crying and crying and crying and crying. So my mom decided 2 days after so we went on the pitch, and she didn't know how to play football. So we went on the pitch, and she told me that next time you're going to take the ball, put the ball where do you have to put it for the PK, and just think about nothing, just try to aim the small net, and you're going to be able to do it. And it was funny because my mom decided she tried to kick the ball, but she was not able to do it. But the fact that she did that, so it helped me for my future. And so that's why for me it was a really good moment in my life, because this is something that I remember. And when I had this situation with Mason, right away my mom told me that, hey, I remember that because I did a camp. So it was good.
Nice.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Nice story there. Now, Wilfred, now as a coach, now let's go back to a bit your role as a coach right now. Sometimes you're talking about Mason Toy having a difficulty scoring goals. When do you decide as a coach when it's time to have a one-on-one discussion with the player, or when it's time to give them space so that they can find balance by themselves? Or do you think it's unique to an individual, to every player? That's a way of dealing with this stuff?
Yeah, it's unique. It's unique because, as you know, this is not the same personality as a human being. So I'm going to give you an example. So because we are talking about Mason, so the day after the game, so usually all the players who played a lot, they do regeneration session. So this is a cool down, a stretch, and just a bit of exercise with the ball. And one of the medical staff came up, and because we had a meeting every day, we have a meeting every day. So we were saying that Mason wants to train, but he knows that he cannot train. So right away, Jules, the physical trainer, said, no, he cannot train. He cannot train because he knows that it's going to be dangerous for him. So I said, yeah, I understand that. So in the moment, that's why, to answer about your question, I am a moment guy. And yes, I know also my player. I know my player as a human being first, because for me, this is really important. So I said to the staff, I'm going to talk with Mason. So Mason came up and I asked him, we discussed about what happened the day before. So he was okay. He was okay, but for sure he wants to score because this is his job. And me, as I said, I was playing center back, so it was not the same job. So I understand that perfectly. So I said, you know why you cannot train today? He said, yes. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to help you because I know that you want to train. So what do you think you're going to do what you need to do in terms of regeneration? But after that, I'm going to give you 20 balls to play to finish the action. Are you okay with that? And it was a relief for him. He was so happy because he understood. And I tried to understand also his desire. And for me, this is my job. I cannot be by the book because I'm not coaching players, I'm coaching human beings. And just the fact that I accepted or I proposed him to be able to do only 20 balls, he was happy. And my fitness coach, was happy also because he did what he has to do. So, and me also, I was happy, and Mason also. So for me, this is really the relationship that I have with my players, but also as a human being. So this is a unique situation, depending the player, depending the person, depending the moment. So this is the way I see it.
Now, Coach, that's very interesting to know that, you know, a lot of people see that as a sport and as a you know, something that, you know, you guys do naturally and everything, but we tend to forget that there are people, human beings behind the player, behind the star, behind the coach and everything. So that's really a very good insight. Now, prior to taking the head coach role in your career, you were assistant to several head coaches like Bello, Gard, Cabrera, then Thierry Henry. What did you learn from them when you that you're applying to your own coaching? I know that it's a question that we already asked you on a few other medias, but I think it's interesting to hear you once again on this.
Yeah. So to summarize, I learned from all the coaches. All of them, because, you know, I knew that I will be a coach. I knew it around 23 years old. I was I was having my badges. Yeah, can I say that in English? Yeah. So for me, I knew it. So when I was an assistant, for me, I was writing everything in terms of if it's good for me, I believe on that or not, because for me, you coach the way you are as a person. And for me, it was not the point to say, okay, Thierry Henry is like this, so I'm going to be like, Maro is like that, I'm going to be like that. No, it's all about, it's been a luxury for me to be able to have a lot of coaches because I was able to see everything in a real moment. It was not a joke. It was a real moment. Emotions, positive emotion, bad emotion, difficult moments, moments. So for me, it was more about, okay, Wilfried, you know, in this situation, maybe I can do this, but Drogba, this is not Ismail Kone. Nacho Piatti, this is not Joaquin. Yeah. So again, the point was to open my eyes and to be able to feel what was the best for me for my future. So that's why I was able to talk everything with all the coaches, and bad and good. And today, this is because of them that I am who I am today. So this is not the point to say, yeah, Maro was like that, or Thierry was like that. It's more about the fact that I've learned a lot from anybody.
Wilfried, you said at the start of the answer that you knew you would be a coach, but you knew it for a long time ago, because back in I'll take you back in time here. You were head coach at AAA level in the Ligue de Soccer Elite du Québec in the early 2000s. It was FC Select Rive-Sud. Even at that level, that was so far from the pros, did you envision yourself having the biggest soccer coaching job in the province one day?
With a lot of humility, I knew that I'm going to be a professional coach, but I didn't know when. And for me, I'm not a guy who like to say in 2 years I'm going to do this, in 3 years I'm going to do that. I don't know. What I know is I wanted to do this job because it's been my life, and I did not have the chance to play in first division because I was not good enough mentally and also as a complete player. So that's why, for me, I was saying that maybe it could be good to be able to help the players to reach what they want to reach. And all the bad things that I had in my life was really, I'm smiling now because it was a good moment for me because this is the person that I am right away now. So FC Select, provincial team, academy, this is the same football. For me, this is the same football. And because of that, I was able to build, the way I was thinking about the game, my conviction and everything like that. The only difference is the professional environment. There is pressure. If I don't perform well, I don't have a job. And there is a lot of pressure also with my family, for my family. And me, I know that this is my job. I have no problem with that, but this is the way it is. So for me, the way I think I'm focusing, and I focus on the game, only the game.
Yeah.
What can I do to help my player to be better when we have the ball, when we don't have the ball, and also enjoy what we do every day. Because the other part, I cannot control it. And this is the business. As you know, Tuchel, the coach from Chelsea, I think he stayed 2 years, almost 2 years or 2 years and a half. He won everything, but he got because this is cliche things, but I enjoy the present moments, and for me, this is a lot for me, and I'm okay with that. So that's why about what you asked me, FC Select, Sport Etudes, Academy. It's been really, really, really good for me because what I can do now, my vision, this is because what happened in the past.
Coach, the reason why Sam asked you that question, because I think he was playing in a team and that beat your team of FC Select.
Yeah, but they beat us too. Right, though. We didn't win every time. I was trying to hide the jersey behind, but it was good times though. LSAQ was really good times, and it was fun. Wilfred, so I'll ask you, there's a lot of young coaches looking to have their opportunity at their professional level that are looking at you as an example to follow right now. Did it ever cross your mind that you might feel extra pressure knowing that if you did succeed, you would bring hope to a lot of these coaches putting the work at amateur level?
First of all, I'm really grateful about this because I am a humble person. I am confident, but also I have ambition. But I'm humble because I know that this is not easy, and this is not easy, this job. But again, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the fact that if I'm going to fail, because failure for me, it's a way of progress. So I have no problem with that. Me, I know you have to. The only advice that I can tell is you have to be clear with your vision. Because nowadays we have the luxury to live with Mourinho, apparently a defensive coach mindset, and Guardiola, apparently an offensive coach mindset, but they won. Both of them, they won. So at the end of the day, this is what you feel and your conviction, and to be clear and to know who you are as a person first. Because if you don't know who you are as a person, a lot of people, because this is football, they're going to come, they're going to say, hey, you know what? You should do this, you should do that, you should do this, because this is what they want because of their past. But me, I'm not the same person as them. So everybody's going to talk. Everybody's going to talk about, we should do this, you should do that. I am open, but I know what I want. And this has been the most difficult things to do. It took me maybe, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years to be able to know exactly the person that I am. and my conviction in terms of a professional aspect. And for that, I'm okay. I'm okay because I know in this job that anybody can talk, anybody can say, you should put this player, you should do this, you should do that. But you have to know what you want and you have to live it. This is the only way for, because I cannot lie to my player. They have to feel my passion. And if they don't feel it, no, this is not good. So I think you have to be like that, in my opinion.
It's impossible to not see your passion, coach, because like it's really like apparent, really apparent. Last question for you. I know you don't have a lot of time, so it's last question. We probably never talked about systems and tactics so much before you took the job as a head coach here in Montreal. How did you come up with your playing philosophy? Which coach inspired you the most? Just tell us all about it. How do we see the Wilfried Nancy system now? How did it develop?
No, the way I see football and the way I see my football, this is a lifestyle. This is my lifestyle. Because I came here with my backpack in 2005, and I was brave to do that. I was able to stay in France, relax. But I said no. I'm gonna see something different, and also it's because it's about my background. I was not a fast player. I was center back, and I needed the other guy to play, and I was a good sweeper libero.
Yeah,
Sweeper.
Yeah.
And for me, it was all about the technique, the tactic, and I needed the other player to be able to be good because I was not fast. So for me, the game is a pass is a message. When you make a pass, this is a message. So for me, it's all about the communication between the players, but also the non-verbal communication. What kind of pass do you want? What does it mean for you? So the effort, to be brave, to be bold. I'm gonna be egoist, but this is my life, and this is the only way I can teach my player to succeed because I believe on that. So for me, the way we play, we want to be brave. We want to entertain also people because I like good things. When I'm saying good thing, this is not expensive things. It could be cheaper things, but the way you wear it could be great. So a part of elegant, but also you have to make the effort first, and you have to be brave. And with the ball and without the ball. So to be clear with that, for me, it's easier to put what kind of game, what kind of play that I want. And it's all about, after that, try to find concepts to be able to reach what I want. The why is really important. For me, my why is really important. And how we're going to reach the why, it's the day-to-day work. But for me, this is really important that we have to understand why we play this way. And how this is the quality of my staff and me. And this is the way I see things.
It's amazing because the team, when we see your team on the pitch, it transpires everything that you just said. Like it's amazing. So great job as of now, qualified for the playoffs. Thank you very much for your time, Sam. I know you want to close it all.
Oh, just say thanks, man, Wilfried. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. I know you have a busy schedule, so we really appreciate you took the time to jump on, and it was super cool talking to you. So all the best for the rest of the season and the playoffs, of course. And I know we're gonna do good. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved Wilfried Nancy. I love the guy, man. Like this guy is something else, to be honest. I love him as a coach, love him as a person. I think he's so genuine and very good communicator, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
I liked his stories. I liked his stories about his past. I think, it was interesting. You don't always hear the stories that go way back into the past like that.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good interview, guys.
Yeah, no, but it was good because of Nasi, of course, because we're just there to ask the question. So he made it really good. So it was fun to have him. It was really fun having him. Guys, let's move on. We have the Canadian men national team. Big news this week. 5 Montreal players called up. Piet, Miller, Johnston, Kone, and Waterman. We got the graphic of the squad. We won't. I won't read every names that are out there.
It's coming.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries.
And yeah, it was. Thank you, Robbie. That was very nice.
So there you go. Just quickly, guys, I'll read out the caps because it's interesting to see. Sam Piet 62 caps for Canada, Johnston 26, Miller 25, Kone 2, and Waterman he's yet to be capped, though he did make the bench twice at the start of 2021. So I guess Joel Waterman will get his first ever cap for Canada in this window and officialize his allegiance to the country. Any thoughts, guys, on the list? Any thoughts on Montreal players being selected? Just want to pick your brains on all of that.
Well, thank God we don't have to get our nerves all up about Joel Waterman being called. Really deserved call. And I listened to John Herdman's comments when he did his media availability, and he had some really good things to say about Montreal as a team, and then as well about Joel Waterman's development over the past season, which is I thought was really cool. I was interested to see that Luca Koleosho was coming back because he, of course, had gotten his first call up during that disastrous June window where it was just so bad. I don't even know. I was really, to be honest, there was a big part of me that was very surprised he was willing to come back after that mess. Because, oh my God, I can't imagine showing up and you have the president and the players all arguing with each other and that shambolic press conference and so on. But lo and behold, he came back, bless his heart.
Hady.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm pretty sure John Herdman listens to us. That's why he called Joel Waterman, right?
No, there you go. Finally, someone says it.
No, but seriously, I think it's a good lineup. Not really convinced about Koleosho, so
he's so young.
He's so young, yeah, exactly. And I think there are more deserving players. I think that could be called, usually. So I don't know. He didn't play. I think he's not even playing in his club. So I don't know. I think it's a bit early. For him. Now, it's always good to have very young guys in the squad when you go to the World Cup. You don't play them at all. You don't give them minutes, but they take the experience of such a big event for the next event, right? So that could be something that John Herdman's looking for. And of course, you want to cap tie him for sure because he's still not cap tied, right? So
exactly.
So it's going to be interesting. Now, for the Montreal players, not sure if Waterman is going to get minutes. I hope he does. I really hope he does. But I'm not really sure because it's not the first time that John Herdman calls players and don't play them.
Use them.
Yeah, it happened quite a few times. So nothing is guaranteed. I just hope that he will get a cap because he deserves it so much. And I think also that defensively, he's a player that can play anywhere. And we talked about it a lot here on TBIR that, in that 3-guy system, he can play on the right, on the left, or in the middle. And that's something that's very important to have that sort of flexibility for the coach. And we know that John Herdman likes to change his tactics in game. So maybe that's something that he can, he can use Joel Waterman because of that, because he's an intelligent player. And the rest, no surprises. We know that Atiba is injured, so wasn't surprised to not seeing to not seeing him here. I think that David Witherspoon is back, so it's weird not to see him again. Yeah. So,
given how very few midfielders we have,
Although I feel like when they listed a lot of the players, they listed Alphonso Davies as a defender.
yeah, I know. But I think in the list they put. the midfielders, they're all center midfielders, because now it's getting complicated with the wing back systems and who's a winger, who's a striker. So I think they played it safe in that regard. But if you look at the center mids, I think Piet and Kone will have a lot of minutes, because you have Estacio who's gonna be a lock. But then who do you have? You have Marc-Anthony Kay, who's completely out of form. You have Jonathan Osorio, who's struggling with like kind of in and out injuries, been dealing with some neurological issues that are kind of exacerbated by exercise, if I'm not mistaken. So you see Piet, you see Kone. I'm pretty sure they are the happiest, quote unquote, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna get a lot of minutes now in defense. Waterman. I think if we go with a back three at some point, back 3/back 5, we're gonna see Waterman. But if John Herdman goes to his 4-4-2 like that he used to go, I don't think we'll see much of Joel Waterman. So
No.
my goodness, they brought a lot of strikers, man.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, but look at it. How many real strikers do you have here? You have Cavallini, David, Larin, and Ugo. You have 4.
Brim.
So if you're playing 4-4-2, it's not a lot, right? Because you need your 2 starters and you need 2 backups. So if you're playing 4-4-2, if you're not playing 4-4-2 with 2 strikers, yes, there's a lot for sure. Because all the rest are wingers or players that can play. They can play as strikers, but most of the time they play as on the wings. So or in the middle of the pitch as number 10s or false 9s or whatever.
Yeah.
So. But I'm very surprised with the lack of central midfielders. I agree. Sorry, Yves.
No worries. No. I mean, I think Junior Hoylett could possibly drop into like a central midfield position, like a 10 of sorts. So
absolutely.
Maybe, but like he does often play more on the wing for sure with Canada. So I think, but I mean, at the same time, in a tournament like that, you do need to rely on versatility of your players. So, maybe it's going to actually end up being a test of how much can they adapt. It'll be, it's an interesting squad. There's a lot of youth, like there's a lot of young players like Grim, like Theo Corbianu's back. Obviously Koyosha's being super young. So I'm pleased to see like that there's a lot of young players getting a look. Kind of like you said, Hady, it could be an incredibly valuable experience for them.
Yeah, and Brim is not that young anymore, right? He's 24 now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I missed that. I thought he was like 21. My bad.
No, he's 24, and that's also I don't understand why he's called. He's not bad. He's not a bad player, not at all. But I don't see it. I don't understand.
Well, could it be that? Could it be? Oh yeah, but he can play up front too, right? He can play.
Yeah, of course he can play. He's a winger. He can play up front for sure. But getting a midfielder, I think would have been better. You have so many. I know TFC is not having a good season, but you have so many young guys at TFC that could benefit from a call up now. Like the Prizos, the Okellos, that are pretty good. I don't understand it.
Well, could it be that Cavallini is maybe starting to play himself out of the squad because he's been struggling terribly in Vancouver, and John Herdman said that form at club level would be a big factor in his deciding who goes to Qatar. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, but Cavallini in the dressing room is so important. So important. Because
Sam Piet's really important in the dressing room. Jonathan Osorio is, Milan Borjan is,
Doniel Henry, who's not
he's injured. But how many locker room players do you need?
Yeah, because at some point the game is played on the pitch anyway, so man.
Yeah, but it depends. It depends of the relationships within the locker room. So if Lucas Cavallini is someone that's close to maybe 4 or 5 guys that need some sort of support that aren't close with other guys that are important for the dressing room, right? So it depends on relationships too. And don't forget, guys, the World Cup, and you'll see, guys, the best example that I can give is Didier Deschamps with France. Every year every time they go to a major event, all French people are really upset about the list that goes out because it's not the best players that are out. It's usually, chemistry is very important for him.
Yeah.
Locker room is very important for him. So sometimes you have players that haven't played much that are being called up to major events. And I think John Herdman is almost the same. So for him, if Lucas Cavallini is important for not only the dressing room but the chemistry, it's someone that's going to stay on the bench and not talk much and not complain much by staying on the bench. I think that's something that's important for him. I don't know. I'm speculating, right? So we don't know. We'll see if he's going to be called up for Qatar, but I'll be surprised if he isn't.
And we had a question from Robbie, but we kind of answered it right at the start. Do you think Kone and Waterman will see minutes in the two games?
Yeah,
Kone,
we said
yeah.
Kone, yeah.
Kone, yeah. I'm not sure Waterman. It depends on the system for me.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, I kind of feel like one game will be where maybe John Herdman does more experimentation than in the other game. Just because, this is really they do have, I think, a friendly right before the World Cup, but this is kind of your last chance to get a good feel for your starters and your actual squad. So I feel like there's really only one game where Joel Waterman can maybe get some minutes.
Yeah, that's why I said before I don't think so, because I completely agree with Yves. I think that now it's Canada making sure that Canada is good enough for the world stage. And, playing the champions of Asia, I know that a lot of people don't know Qatar and think that it's going to be an easy prey.
But sure, Qatar was just at the Gold Cup.
Exactly.
You should know it.
I know, but I'm saying fans that don't really know Qatar and I think that it's going to be an easy prey. It's not. It's a very good team. Champions of Asia. Played a lot of very big teams in the last couple of years, and Uruguay is always it's a football nation. Very important, very very big players that play for that team. So it's two very big tests for Canada, and it's going to be very interesting. I hope that we'll be able to get some results against those teams, but if we are able to get results against those teams, it's looking very good for the World Cup. If we aren't, I'll start to be worried.
Okay, fair enough.
So, guys, we close it out. How many points figurative points do we pick up in these two games? So,
a draw and a loss for me.
So, draw against Qatar, loss against Uruguay?
Yeah, possibly.
1 point.
Okay. I think maybe they could squeak something out against Qatar. So I'm going to say 1 win, 1 loss.
Okay. I say 2 draws. So we're a bit pessimistic here. Yves is the most optimistic.
Wow, what's going on with the world?
Oh, boy.
Interesting.
I don't know. Any pigs flying out there?
We'll keep tabs on that. Guys, so we'll just move on to part 2 of the show. We have an interview with Paul Vance. We'll announce the winner of the Naked Highs t-shirt. We have a quiz, and we'll finish with social media. So I guess we can jump right into the interview with the one and only Paul Vance, who is back to his native Northern Ireland for a moment. Original founder of Soccer by Paul and Hady that eventually became The Ball Is Round, for those who don't know him. So there you go.
I'm so thrilled to be able to talk with Paul Vance again. Paul Vance, for those who don't know and who have been following us just not too long ago, Paul Vance and I, we were the co-founders of Soccer by Paul and Hady, who later became The Ball Is Round when Paul was still here. Paul is no longer here, but he's in our hearts, and I really wanted to reach out. Hey, Paul, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. It's great to talk to you again. I'm no longer there, but I'm here in Northern Ireland. Missing Montreal, and of course the first year I leave Montreal, they start doing exceptionally well.
Okay, stay there. Okay, stay there. No, but
I'm still, you know what? I'm due to come back in October, but should I cancel that or postpone it?
No, but that would be nice if you come back in October. Hopefully, you'll come back in time for the playoffs in Montreal. That's going to be insane. Montreal now, are assured to host at least one game of the playoffs. So are you going to try to make it for that game?
As long as you don't blame me if they don't win.
We'll make sure to not blame you, even if we're going to think about it for sure. So tell us a bit, Paul, what have you been up to, in Ireland, and of course, have you been keeping tabs with CF Montreal?
Yeah, of course I have. I mean, you can't really follow or have a season ticket for a club for 10 years and just sort of go cold turkey. So of course I've been following results. I haven't watched as many matches as I did in the past. I used to watch every game, but it's been a bit more difficult here with the time zones and dodgy connections and finding where to find the games and all this kind of stuff. So I haven't seen as much as I would like to, but certainly been following the results. I actually think by this stage that Wilfried Nancy is a miracle worker, and I believe he's on this show at some stage as well. So congratulations to him, and it's fantastic to see it. What I've been doing, as you know, I came across to help out with family. As I say, I'm due back in Montreal for a few weeks in October time, but I've really reconnected with football back here in sort of the Irish League and Northern Ireland, following the national team, following my own team, Glentoran, who I'm now a vice president with. And we've started off the season well too. So I hope if I go to Montreal in October, I hope I'm not going to scud Montreal, and by leaving Northern Ireland, I hope I'm not going to scud Glentoran either, because they're unbeaten this season. So,
wow.
So yeah, I've been watching lots of football. It's great to be again immersed in a traditional football country where you walk down the street and you bump into 3 or 4 people, and the first conversations about last night's match or something like that. And I missed that a little bit, I think, when I was away, but. Yeah, I'm enjoying reconnecting with home, and it's good that my team's going quite well, although we had a bad end of last season. But, fingers crossed for this year.
Question for you, Paul. Okay, let's go back in time. The 22nd of May, 2019, you and we decide to record one of our chats, because we usually had chats for a long time about soccer, about football. And we're like, you know what? We're having those chats, so why not record them? So we started recording that 22nd of May 2019, Soccer by Paul and Hady, episode 1. We started on European soccer. And did you expect that project would reach now, it's 141 episodes, but 100 episodes in the boldest round, because we rebranded at one point. Did you expect that project to go that far?
No, of course not. And I'm very, very proud of you guys for the way that you've carried it on. I think it's fantastic. And I think if I remember going right back, I actually met you in a coffee shop, and was it Monkland or somewhere? Was it?
No,
Monkland?
It was here on Côte des Neiges on Java U, and you were interviewing me for an article that you wanted to write on Montreal soccer.
Exactly, and I pitched it to you, and I says, look, I know you do podcasts, but you ever think of doing a podcast on the impact? And you went, there is podcasts. And I said, but there isn't an English one, right? And I think you were still kind of skeptical. I was too. I just didn't really know how it would go, to be perfectly honest, and we decided to get it together. And the first one we did
was on European soccer.
It was on European soccer. Yeah,
we talked about Champions League memories, the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, we did. And then we got more into the kind of Montreal stuff. I think the Champions League final was just about to happen, and that's why we talked about that. And I remember it was Spurs and Liverpool, and I also remember from that was I couldn't bring myself to, because you said who you think's going to win, and I kind of couldn't really bring myself to say Liverpool, and it was more wishful thinking than anything else when I said Tottenham, and you said no, I think it's going to be Liverpool, and I'm sitting there facing you thinking, I know Hady's right, but I just can't say it, right? and when the game actually did take place, and I remember this so vividly. I was over in Estonia, I think, to watch Northern Ireland, and a couple of nights before was the actual final. And I went into a pub in Estonia, just about found a seat, a bar stool up at the bar. And as I was turning around to kind of position myself to watch the game, Liverpool got that penalty. I think it was about the first minute, and bang, 1-0. And I kind of knew that was it. And I just thought to myself, you know what, Hady's right, but I knew he was going to be right, but I just couldn't say it.
Yeah, good times, good times. As you, for people who don't know, big Manchester United fan here that we're talking to. Now, Paul, you see now how the pod has evolved. Okay, we're 100 episodes of The Ball Is Round. We're live now. We have managed to have interviews of players. When you were here with the Yuka Vaitala, Amar Sadic, then we had, of course, here I think after you were gone, you know, Patrice Bernier, Justin Mapp, Victor Wanyama, Kamal Miller. How do you think that pod can still develop? What do you think is going to happen in the future? Because, you know, you're a talisman, right? You're the one that brings us luck, right? So what do you think is going to happen for the future?
Yeah, but you're the guys that have kind of taken it on. And I think, you know, a couple of innovations that maybe you omitted to mention there, probably unintentionally, I'm sure, unintentionally, was bringing Sam on board and bringing Eve on board. And they were kind of fairly big decisions at the time. But I mean, I think they were the right ones because it's certainly enhanced the show. I think the fact that you've gone live is another incredible enhancement. Maybe not so incredible in this day and age, but you know, it was somewhere that you needed to go to keep carrying the thing forward. Where do you go from here? I don't know. Radio show, live radio.
That would be nice. That would be nice. So yeah. So let's hope, Paul, that we're going to be able to bring you back for one or more episodes when you're here in Montreal. That would be nice to bring you back and to remember old times too. Thanks a lot for everything, for starting that project with me, and of course for, you know, taking the decisions to bring Eve and Sam back because and I think those were very big decisions, as you said, but so important decisions, and they're amazing. I'm so happy to be working with them right now, and good luck for the future, and talk to you soon, I hope.
Yeah, happy 100th, and good luck to all the listeners out there who used to listen when I was on too. I'm sure you'll go from strength to strength, and hopefully when I'm there in October, maybe you'll have me on and we can have a little bit of a chat.
Of course we will. Until then, Paul. See ya. Yeah, so that was...
So we're very...
Yeah, sorry about that,
Okay,
guys.
It was fun to hear him, man.
Yeah, I miss him so much, this guy. He was really amazing.
Yeah.
And Matthew says the same thing. I miss Paul, his stats and quizzes. There will be a quiz at the end of the show, so not as good as Paul quizzes, but you know, we tried our best.
Oh man.
Yeah, Paul was the best.
He was quiz master.
Guess it's time to that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
I've missed that Northern Ireland voice, says Gail. And Chan says, I miss Paul big time. So, so Paul, we all miss you. Everybody misses you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's one of my friends who listens too. He says, you know, when you hear his accent and his voice, you just know you're listening to a soccer thing. So, man. Well, Paul was popular, and look at all.
Yeah.
Of course, man. Paul is the man,
He was like an icon, really.
Yeah. Well, it's because of him. If I started getting involved a bit into, because I started writing for Montreal Soccer a bit, then brought me to the podcast. So it's all because of Paul, man. So we miss you, Paul, and hopefully we can have you when you're back in Montreal. Yeah. Guys, it's time to see who won the Naked Highs T-shirt.
Yes.
I'll just share my screen and we'll do the draw. So there were 3 people who put their name out there. Yeah, there you are.
Ooh,
so we have... Does this work, guys? You see it well?
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, Wayne, Patrick, and GF were the 3 who got into the draw. Let's see who won. Patrick, okay, I'll be sending you a DM shortly. Just close that,
Yeah, so it's P-Dubs, Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick.
Long-time listener. He's been listening to us since Soccer by Paul and Hady, so for more than 100 episodes. Thanks a lot for being a listener here.
Yeah, I'll send you a DM after the episode, and we'll figure out if we meet at the stadium, or if they send it to you by mail, whatever. We'll figure it out. So congrats, Patrick. Social media.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's start the segment.
Okay, so I got 5 tweets for us today. First one is this one just this is from Sean McMahon.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
And so it's I'm not gonna lie, I think it's dad joke. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, it says "Boo by New England" with a picture of Gustavo Boo and then Brandon By.
It's really, really amazing.
That's
good,
a
man.
hoot.
That's
It's a hoot.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the first time that I see it, so
yeah?
good job. Yeah, good
Yeah,
job.
awesome. Next up, we have Simon Salikas.
Yeah, from TSN.
Exactly. So what Simon says is, what CF Montreal is doing is incredible. Imagine the Habs were projected to finish last but end up competing for first overall. City would be on fire. Even if you're a half-assed fan or dislike soccer, for the love of local sports, support and rally around this club. # great season. I thought that was just like a really good way to succinct it up. Like, you gotta look at the local sport. I really liked I liked his statement a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm not a big football Canadian football fan, but whenever the Alouettes were good with Anthony Calvillo, and whenever they were playing for the Grey Cup, I used to watch the games. So, but I'm not a big football fan.
No.
I dislike football. So yeah. Sorry about everybody if someone is offended, but I really dislike the sport. But just it's important to support your local teams when they're doing well, and yeah. So same thing for everybody. But I think that everybody that listens to us like soccer. So
I'm a little curious what they're doing here if they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I thought it was a good message that got put out into the general space.
Yeah, of course, and it's good because I think there's gonna be a lot of people watching in the playoffs, and now there's always that good old thing that people say, yeah, I don't like soccer because of this, and it always has something to do with diving and simulation and stuff. But man, I really love MLS playoffs, and usually it's crazy MLS playoff. It's wild, man. And so people maybe will just jump on the bandwagon for the playoffs, watch them, see how physical, how direct, how good it is, and maybe just drop their stereotypes and become fans. So it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. No, we'll see if he reaches anyone. Alrighty, next up we have. So this one comes kind of on the heels of Canada announcing the men's roster. So this is from Molly at Made Us Restless. I really don't understand why Canada Soccer is the only team, or I guess federation, that struggles to schedule, confirm, and announce women's national team games. No other federation does this. The FIFA window is in 15 days, and we don't even know if we are playing. Fans cannot plan travel with 2 weeks' notice. And this one just kind of caught me off guard. I said, wait a minute, we have a window in 2 weeks. I was really surprised by that because we haven't heard a single peep about it. Is that weird?
It's very weird. You know what? It's funny because I was looking at the Canada at one point because it was like, it's been a while that we haven't, talked about the Canadian, the women's national team, and not a while as in, a long time, because we talked about them a couple of weeks ago. But I know that there are other windows pretty shortly because, we're preparing for the 2023 World Cup. Like,
exactly.
It's in a few months, right? So we need to get things going, right? And
I know, it's so weird.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything, and that's very weird. So good point, Molly. We don't understand it either.
Yeah, no, we're scratching our heads, and unfortunately, Canada Soccer's just not having a good year. I don't think they seem to be struggling with organizational everything this year. But fingers crossed that by calling it out, we maybe drive some impetus for change. Alrighty, next up, we have Ryan Lindsay, and I think this one we probably kind of addressed it a little bit in the in the first part of our show, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
He says, how aren't Alistair Johnston and Kamal Miller being linked with moves to bigger leagues? They have both been in phenomenal form, but Alistair Johnston in particular has been incendiary, which is a word I really like.
Yeah.
He has thrived in numerous positions and roles in 2021, 2022, and is 100% ready for a bigger challenge. So I think we kind of did already talk about this one, but I like the term incendiary, and that's why I get to pick it because I like the word. But overall, as well, you know, we talked about Alistair Johnston moving on to bigger and better things. I guess just as well because, you know, this tweet mentions Kamal Miller. Do you guys think Kamal Miller's also gonna be on a plane?
Yeah.
Come January.
Because I think if you look at this window, you had Mihailovic and Kone who are fringe players for both their national teams. You know, we're not sure if Kone is going to the World Cup, and Georgie probably isn't going. So there was maybe a bit more of a rush to get deals on, and Kone never happened, but it did happen for Mihailovic. But you know, Miller and Johnston will be very important for Canada. So if you're Olivier Renard, you're in no rush of selling them. You just wait for them to do good in Qatar, and their value is just going up and up. So that's why I think they're not linked with moves at the moment.
Exactly. The number of eyes on them at that World Cup is going to be off the charts. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And
hopefully we'll get good amounts for them.
Yeah, definitely, hopefully. And I'm sure Olivier Renard will find a way, as he has so far.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And last one
yes.
from Chan.
Nice.
So happy birthday to Hady, and it's a picture of you and Chan at the coldest soccer game in the history of time.
Yeah, and I'm not that fat. Just so that
no,
you
you're
know,
just bundled up. You're bundled up.
I'm fat, but not that much.
No, that was just how many layers you were wearing because it was so cold at that game.
Freezing, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the birthday wishes, guys.
Happy
birthday,
and thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that wraps up social media.
And we'll go on to Hady's quiz. That's what we have prepared today.
Yeah, I don't have a segment or introduction to the segment because I didn't have time to do it. So let's choose this one.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, but you know, that's a segment that I did back then when you did the five-a-side thing. Yeah, so I chose this one.
Nice.
As simple as that. Okay, guys, so I have a quiz for you because we're celebrating our 100th episode, and because, you know, this episode is, I think, very important for all of us. And when I say all of us, I think the three of us, but also for Paul, because it shows, you know, how far we've come. And I wanted to pick your brains to know if you remember some of the moments that we lived.
Oh my
together.
God, some of my incredibly poor takes. Oh no.
No. I couldn't find very poor takes. No. I just chose some sentences from our pods.
Okay.
You know, very randomly. You know, I took some time to do it, of course, but I chose some sentences. So I'm gonna give you the sentence, and you're gonna have to guess who of us four said it. Okay?
Oh, really?
Okay.
But I will also give you the if you want to, or you know what, as a second guess, I will give you the episode number.
Wow.
Okay, so just as a hint. Sorry.
Okay.
So, talking about Balou Tabla, one of us says he was the best everywhere he went. But when you get to this level, you have to get your work ethic right. Who said it, or who needs a hint? So let's say if you ask for a hint and you get it right, you have half a point. If you don't ask for the hint, you get 1 point.
Okay. I would like to guess without a hint.
Okay, go ahead, Eve.
I'm gonna say Paul.
Wrong.
I think I said that.
Yes, Sam.
Yeah.
You said that.
Because I said that recently about Ismael Kone too, so I said that sounds familiar to me.
And that was the first episode of The Ball is Round, guys. Number 1. If you weren't there yet
Nope.
Back then. But first episode of The Ball is Round. And it's funny because it was the first time that Sam introduced and started the pod. Usually it was Paul that was doing the animation. So he just introduced because he was coming along and coming aboard. And he introduced the pod. So that was really nice. Talking about Thierry Henry's future and him being linked to Bournemouth, who says, it's not surprising, but I wish we could hold on to a coach for a couple of years because we need stability. But if he's gone, I'm sure we will find another coach as good or maybe better.
Okay, I'll guess.
Okay.
No hint?
No,
Okay, go ahead.
it's you, Hady.
You're right, Sam.
Oh my God, you got a good memory.
No, it's just it sounded like Hady. I don't
Yeah.
have no memory at all, but it sounded like Hady. So.
Okay, so Sam is winning 2-0.
Yes,
No
I
hints.
know. The most dangerous lead.
Yeah, true.
And that was your first episode with us.
That was
Eve.
mine. Yeah,
The
no, I
15th.
recall it.
Yeah, the 15th episode of The Ball
Yeah.
is Round. That was really nice. Next one. Talking about Saint-Piet's place with new tactics. Who says we're all in agreement that Saint-Piet needs to be back in the team because of his influence, because the stats prove that when he plays, we're getting good results?
I can picture like the context. Well, obviously, you just gave the context. But like, I can.
I didn't say anything, but I thought about it. Nobody wants to guess? Do you want a hint?
Well, let
No.
Eve go first though, because I went first the last one.
It's okay.
I'm gonna say Sam.
No, it's not.
Damn
Sam.
it!
Is it Eve?
No, it's
Sound
not.
no, it doesn't sound like.
So, guys, you lost, and it was Paul. That's it.
Ah,
Yeah, of course, the stats. He was talking about stats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny. Next, Romel Kyoto got a red card in Orlando. And someone says, you have to be wiser than that. You got to be smarter. Your team is not only down a man, but you're suspended also for the next games. Sam, your turn to start.
I think I said that.
No,
No?
I think it was me actually.
it was
Oh.
Eve. Yeah, it was Eve. Nice. So 2-1. 2-1, guys. And
There we
that
go.
was the 70th episode of The Ball is Round.
There we go. See, shorter term memory, I might get there.
Next one. Who said it felt like 2 minutes of madness? It was just like they forgot their tactics. A collective brain fart. Eve.
It was me. That
It was you.
that was recent. That was like that was the match where they conceded the 2 goals and then against Columbus. No.
That was the 99th episode. So
Yes.
last week.
Yes. There we go.
And next,
Yeah.
and that's for Sam. You'll start this one. Where our structure hits a wall, it's when we're against low blocks. It'll be interesting if they accept to be a bit more creative.
That's me.
I was gonna say that sounds so Samish.
Exactly, and that's Sam, and that's also the 99th episode.
Yeah.
So Sam wins the quiz. As simple as that. So just a trip down memory lane. We say some very good things on The Ball is Round.
We
So,
try.
so continue on listening to us because we're amazing.
Yeah, and
That's it for me.
yeah,
That
and
was
I think
good fun. Thank you, Hady.
Yeah,
for
it
that
was
trip
cool,
down
Hady.
memory
Thanks, man.
lane.
And I think we're done for the episode, guys. I want to say thanks to everyone. It's been a journey for us, and we're really, really, really lucky to have all you guys on board, and these very dynamic episodes and all the the correspondences during the week. It's really cool having all of you on. So thank you so much. We appreciate it really, really, really a lot. Like all the love, all the support. It's really cool. Thanks, Eve. Thanks, Hady, as well as usual.
Thank you,
And
Sam.
we'll just we'll leave you on a little audio montage of some of the key moments of the last 100 episodes as a way to say bye. And next week will be the next episode of The Ball Is Gone. See you.
Ce podcast est une diffusion du Cannes Football Club, l'alternative foot. Allez au cannesfootballclub.com.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Soccer with Paul and Hady. So I am Hady Raphael, one of your hosts with Paul Vance here. How are you, Paul, today?
Yes, I'm doing good, Hady, and it's really good to get this underway. We've talked about it for a week or so, and it's just good to get going. Welcome to episode 21 of Soccer by Paul and Hady. We have a special show for you tonight. Obviously, it's the first game of the season for the Impact. They're down in Saprissa in San Jose in Costa Rica. And we have our man on the ground, Samuel Savi. Samuel is a staff writer for Mount Royal Soccer. So tell us about your journey. How did you get down there?
We went from it was a direct flight, which is unusual because normally it's my fourth time in Costa Rica. It's the first time I found a direct flight from Montreal to San Jose. Usually you have to connect either by New York, Atlanta, or Miami, but somehow we found the straight flight. That's
Good for you. Are you seeing many Impact fans around the place?
No, I thought I'd see more, but we didn't see at all. But this afternoon there's a gathering at a bar. We'll go before the game. Might be I think there was about 30 people who confirmed they would be there. And but since we've been there, not one, not at all.
Wow,
So a bit disappointing, yeah.
This week's episode of The Ball Is Round, we still don't have Sam Savvy back, but we do have a special guest along to fill the void. Eve Powell has joined us to give our listeners her very own slant on all things Montreal football and, of course, beyond. Eve, you are The Ball Is Round's first female guest. No pressure. Welcome. So before we get on to Thierry Henry, let's hear how you got into the beautiful game.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you. So the story of how I first got into the beautiful game really comes from my dad, actually. Growing up, soccer was always kind of on in the background, at least on the weekends.
At precisely 10:47 this morning, CF Montreal issued an email announcing the departure due to family reasons of head coach Thierry Henry. It's a mighty blow to the club's aspirations going forward, both professionally and in a marketing sense.
Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the first ever live show. Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, Montreal qualified for the playoffs with still 4 games remaining on the season. Section 132 was rocking and bouncing again, and the women national team perfect in Australia. All of that and a lot more on episode 99 of The Ball is Round. Stay tuned. We'll hit you up with updates during the week. Until then, guys. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday for episode 100 of The Ball is Round. Take care, everyone.